Some residents are willing to pay the higher price of convenience. Others say they've resorted to public transportation.
I can catch a cab from Union Station to my house for $5.50 without calling it. And if I called it, it'd be like $6.75, but now it's $8.40.
The initial basic cab rate fare in Washington has nearly doubled from $2.80 to $4. And while subzones have been eliminated, the more zones, the higher the fare hike.
Well, the drivers, they have a lot of expenses, gasoline, insurance, and maintenance, and some of them are having a difficult time making expenses and making ends meet.
And a number of riders we talked to said they supported the fare hike for good service in return.
I've lived in this city for decades, and I think they've been cheated by the taxpayers. So I'm in favor of this.
In fact, we decided to take a taxi from 10th and H Streets Northwest to Union Station. One cabbie charged $4 for one zone, the other charged $5.50 for two zones. Now, this is the first time in 3 years the taxi drivers say those fares have been driven up. They tell us they're barely making ends meet and is long overdue. As for the discrepancy in fares, well, we got a number of answers to that.
Most people that use taxi cab, they don't know, the zones, when they are crossing the zones or not, so I guess very confused for the passengers.
Only one situation, because the fare should be one charge that is decided by the taxi cab commission, and those who are charging this are doing illegal things.
Even this cab driver says he hopes for a better system, more fair to passengers than the current zone system. And as cabbies gear up for a busy season, it may be your best bet to get to know the zoning map on the back seat. If not, some admit you could be taken for a ride. In Northwest Washington, Kathy Foster Johnson, News 7. The day-to-day stress and decades of decay on bridges in the nation's capital makes some wonder if disaster is waiting to happen.
You can't win either way. Either you're worried about the bridges falling out from under you, or you're worried because you'll never get off them because of the traffic.
5 months ago, a chunk of the Whitehurst Freeway fell and smashed a vacant car, prompting police to close off a section of K Street. And according to the D.C. Department of Public Works, of the more than 230 bridges in the city, 150 need work. Part of the problem, it says, available funding. Not to mention, most bridges throughout the city are more than 30 years old.
It has some magnificent potholes. It made me almost want to buy a 4x4 during the winter.
According to a survey conducted by the Federal Highway Administration, New York tops the list with 63% of its bridges in need of extreme repair or replacement. Washington, D.C. ranks second at 60%. Maryland comes in at 21st with 31%, and Virginia ranks 31st at 28%. AAA says part of the problem, an estimated $30 billion available in a highway trust fund that's not being spent.
We're fortunate. I think last spring when we had that big chunk fall, we dodged a bullet, but maybe we won't be so lucky next time.
Meantime, the D.C. Department of Public Works says the bridges throughout the city are not dangerous. It says it's aware of the problems and is working on them. Kathy Foster Johnson, News 7. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates someone dies in an alcohol-related crash every 32 minutes. And this long 4th of July holiday weekend, police throughout the Washington area plan to put the brakes on drunk driving.
Thank goodness we're seeing a reduction in the amount of drunk drivers. Arrests actually are up over last year's figures. However, the numbers, thank goodness, of alcohol-related fatalities and injuries to drunk drivers is down.
Figures show in the past 10 years, the number of alcohol-related fatalities in Maryland have dropped by almost 200. Police say it's partly due to sobriety checkpoints. But motorists we talked to say they're still keeping an eye on those driving out of control.
I haven't seen any accidents lately that it's been a big concern of mine.
Even if you drive straight, you never know who's going to hit you. They can come from any direction.
Police say sobriety checkpoints like this are helping to increase public awareness. That's why those numbers are down. By the way, the limit for alcohol consumption, 0.08. If you get caught, you could get your license suspended on the spot, plus time in jail. In Wheaton, Kathy Foster Johnson, News 7. All throughout the Washington area, panhandling seems to go hand in hand with the areas where people spend lots of money. It's not illegal to ask for money in the district, but it is illegal to beg in certain public locations, in traffic, or to harass residents. This panhandler says she makes a living finding parking spots for people in Adams Morgan. That, too, is against the law.
Well, I have a habit, and also I've given up, basically. I had welfare for 10 years, and it's just hard for me to really get a job.
In fact, some claim it's their First Amendment constitutional right to panhandle. And this man who did not want to be identified says despite the laws against certain types of panhandling, he provides a needed service.
You know, they give valet $5. Valet don't do nothing but park the cars out here in public parking spaces.
But the reason the district says it passed laws against panhandling a couple of years ago was because some said begging was bad for business and raised safety concerns.
But it's rather intimidating for people to come in and have to deal with them. They're really afraid if they don't pay them, something terrible is going to happen to their car or whatever, whatever.
I never had a problem as long as they don't try to, beg me too much.
This is free public parking here, and it's just not right.
In fact, while no major problems have been reported here in Adams Morgan as a result of panhandling, many question what can be done to bring it under control. Others wonder why more and more people are looking for ways to make it on the street. In Adams Morgan, Kathy Foster Johnson, News 7.
Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand.
Already here on the west lawn of the Capitol, thousands camped out for a preview of the nation capital's 17th annual 4th of July celebration.
Actually, this is cool. We were here one year when it rained so hard that we were sopping wet and had absolutely a ball, too.
No, this is better tonight. I'll watch it on TV tomorrow.
The live dress rehearsal featured all the elements of a top-notch production. The highlight, the world premiere of George Gershwin's Lost National Anthem, written in 1919, and a tribute to Ira Gershwin on the 100th anniversary of his birth.
The weather's great. It's the first time in about 3 years we've had such cool, clear weather, so I think it's going to be a record audience.
Also, an array of guests will entertain an estimated 400,000 spectators, including singers Peabo Bryson and Regina Troop, a host of other artists, and the internationally acclaimed National Symphony Orchestra. Not to mention the fireworks. No smoking is allowed here near the reflecting pool. That's because more than 2,000 casings are set and ready to go like never before.
We will have moments in the show where certain shells will break with certain notes in songs, and as the songs change, the color and the texture of the fireworks will change to match the color and texture of the music, and it's very tightly choreographed.
The cost of this gala, an estimated $1 million. And those coordinating this event say they expect this to be one of the best 4th of July celebrations ever. On the west lawn of the Capitol, Kathy Foster Johnson, News 7.